Welcome back. We're still in the process of unpacking game theory as applied to digital marketing, and in the last two parts of this chapter, we unpacked our case study, which is essentially the pooled property investment business model on our property management automation platform. We defined our audiences, designed our campaign plan as well as the associated content plan, ran our campaign, and came across some good outcomes. We also, however, encountered some serious challenges as well that threaten to render our campaign ineffective in terms of the ultimate goal of getting people to use our platform. We followed our game theory decision process to unpack the problem and understand the context and the situation better. And now we're going to go into setting up our game by first outlining the outcomes that we want in resolving the situation, secondly, determining the options possibly available to us to do so, thirdly, unearthing what it would take to action each option we have available to us, and lastly, understanding the ultimate position each option will place us in a game theory setting. Let's get into it. We start with outlining our desired outcomes as we said. Our main objective, even initially in implementing the campaign, was to drive audiences to our platform and get them to explore our services, with the ultimate objective of getting them to take up a subscription and eventually start their property investing journey. We also discovered a key issue of distrust among targeted audiences, mainly stemming from the distrust of traditional investment entities, avenues, and platforms due to the perception that these institutions and platforms make things deliberately complicated in order to use the ignorance of the ordinary man, so to say, to take advantage of them in favor of large institutional investors. We also discovered that audiences are also distrusting of alternative online investment platforms and avenues, mainly due to the prominence of online investment scams that they've either fallen victim to, know someone who has, or have heard reports on social media of others who have fallen victim to such scams. We would therefore like to position ourselves in such a way that, firstly, audiences do not associate us with the big, mean investment institutions they perceive to be taking advantage of the ordinary man, and secondly, they do not associate us with the fraudulent online investment scams that have plagued social media and left a litany of victims in their wake. We'd like audiences to see us as the go-to, trustworthy investment platform for the ordinary man that is transparent and positions its clients for long-term financial success. Lastly, we'd like to endear our platform to our audiences such that they like and trust us enough to include us as an honorary member of their prominent and prevalent social media investment communities, where these communities enthusiastically engage in ordinary man property investment discourse, where ordinary people of different backgrounds and financial positions engage, vent, complain, and educate each other about all things property investment. Right then, now that we've got our outcomes, let's set up our game. So the situation mainly stems from the fact that audiences that are aware of our platform and have seen our content online are largely engaging with our content and seem to like our social media pages, but their resistant psychographics towards online investment platforms make it such that they don't want to engage with us beyond social media on our platforms where we actually dispense our investment services. Bearing this in mind, we've decided that our game will involve converting the engagement we're getting from social media into traffic and engagement to our web and app platforms. We therefore define our players as the social media platforms themselves, as well as the naysayers in the prominent social media investment communities, where these naysayers aim to bundle us with either the traditional platforms that are perceived to be anti-ordinary man or the online investment scams that have claimed a lot of victims. It appears in this context that because of all these online investment scams and informal investment communities that mean well but don't necessarily fully know what they are doing, social media is now positioned as somewhat as an investment avenue or platform, positioned by the context as competition for real investment platforms and avenues. Hence, we have defined social media as an opponent player in this game. The words and actions of naysayers in prominent social media community discourse, particularly if they seem more clued up about investments and such, has a profound effect on not only how people view our platform, but also on the likelihood of them engaging and eventually using the platform if they still maintain their interest beyond what the naysayers say. In this context, the naysayers are effectively the enforcers of the resistance psychographics. Audiences might see some value in what the platform offers: transparency around information, available properties, as well as possible co investors. But because the words of naysayers are still ringing in their ears, they might decide to find other creative ways of getting the outcome they want, such as privately tracking down potential co investors on the platform, as well as other ordinary investment enthusiasts they know, privately tracking down the owners of properties listed on the platform, and then attempting to do their own pooling and investment process outside of the platform instead of fully using the platform services. This is why we've chosen to define online community naysayers as an opponent player in the game against whom we must come up with a strategy to achieve the ultimate end game of our campaign, which is to grow a strong active user base for the pooled property investment business model on our platform. Okay, so now we have to go into exploring our options. The first option we explore is to build some of our pooled property investment capability into social media platforms where our audiences are actively engaging our content. The number of capabilities built into social media platforms beyond online socializing has been growing, especially now with the advent of AI and its many applications. Social media platforms are now also e commerce platforms where users can directly make purchases of different products and services within the social media platform itself. They have become streaming platforms where users can now monetize their content subscription wise over and above advertising revenue share. Users can now charge a fee to allow other users to view their content. On that note, shout out to the Poppy Show. If you want to watch a fun loon explore obscure, dangerous, and interesting parts of the world in a way that only a complete and epic loon would, then this show is for you. Note to Poppy: subtitles save lives. Don't sleep on subtitles. Now back to our course. So, as we said, a whole lot of capability has been added into social media platforms in order to dispense other products and services users might be interested in, from shopping to dating. We're also presented with the same option. There's two ways to do this. We can somehow connect APIs to our chosen social media platforms to at least advance the service to the point that the user is too in to abandon the process and has no choice but to advance to our platform to complete it. Another way is to somewhat manualize the process for the user while it's fully automated on our end to carry information back and forth between the social media platform and our platform. One of the key features of fraudulent online investment scams that seem to drive trust on the part of the would be victim is direct communication, often via a private messaging platform that seems to lull the would be victim into some kind of comfort and trust coma while they volunteer their hard earned money to the scammer. It therefore appears that private messaging is very effective in driving trust and comfort between users and business entities or brands online. So we can adopt the same approach. Allow users to direct message us via private messaging and try to drive the awareness to monetization conversion of the user via private messaging using an autonomous API. The beauty of AI is that possibilities such as determining from the user's language or even social media interactions their level of interest in the service and how primed they are to be monetized and join our property investment community are more than possible. So we have an AI agent, if you will, that has already profiled the user to some level, communicating with the user via DM and carrying information between our platform and the user in order to facilitate the service, at least to the point that they are in the process so deep that they would need to go to our platform or at least our website to navigate the rest of the process. So, what do we need to consider to be able to implement this option? Well, first, we're dealing with property, but we're facilitating financial services related to property as an investment class via setting up and facilitating investment pooling transactions. We're using social media platforms in this process, which brings media into the fold.